Conor Knighton is back at it this morning, celebrating the centennial of the National Park Service at a spot right on our national border.
Each day, over 80,000 people cross between El Paso, Texas and Juarez, Mexico.
Can I get across?
But head close to 350 miles southeast, and the border has a bit of a different feel.
Has it changed in the last few years?
Fewer than 40 people a day cross between the United States and Boquillas del Carmen, Mexico. The all-time record is just 304, set during spring break, more than the entire population of Boquillas. For decades, tourists have been coming to this tiny Mexican village to shop, eat, and take a burro ride. Boquillas is within shouting distance, make that singing distance, of a national park.
The cross-cultural exchange down here has been part of Big Bend's history since before we became a park. This land once was Mexico, so there were Mexicans that lived here.
Jeanette Gerardo is a ranger at the park, which takes its name from the Big Bend of the Rio Grande. For 118 miles, the river twists and turns through this remote stretch of far west Texas. It marks the southern border of the park and of the United States.
With our scenery, especially the canyons, it's almost hard to remember that one half of the canyon is United States and the other wall belongs to Mexico. So we share these resources.
Mention wall and Mexico in the same sentence these days, and you're bound to get some strong opinions. But these walls, 1,500 feet high, were built by nature millions of years ago. In 1935, Texas Senator Morris Shepherd wrote to President Roosevelt, encouraging him to make this region a peace park, managed by both countries.
As the legislation for the park was being written, part of the discussions were about having this binational or friendly nations park. But it's just never come to fruition to have that formal agreement.
But informally, the park has always had ties to the Mexican side. The dividing line is shallow enough you can walk across it.
I didn't know that the Rio Grande would be like this wide.
Yeah, kind of pequeño.
Yeah, it was
Not so grande.
Yeah,
This was the Smith family's first trip to Mexico. You hear that a lot in Boquillas.
We've had a lot of people that have come to Mexico for the first time, and what they really like is that we have a very safe town here.
Lilia Falcone was born in Boquillas. Today, she works at the restaurant her parents started back in the 1970s, one of just 2 restaurants in town.
We don't serve like steaks and all that because we still have to go 160 miles away to go get our groceries.
The traditional food they do serve is delicious. But for over a decade, there were no tourists to feed.
Did September 11th affect how many people were coming here?
Well, yes, it completely changed our lives because in 2002, we got the border closed here for 11 years.
Up until 2002, Boquillas was considered an informal crossing point. Enforcement wasn't really a priority. But increased security after 9/11 meant that remote crossings like Boquillas were all shut down.
Because a lot of the economy down there was tourism-based, most of those families had to move away because there wasn't a way for them to legally support themselves anymore.
It was devastating for the town. The bar was the only business that stayed open. But in 2013, the government opened an official port of entry in the park. Next week marks its 3-year anniversary. The gates are only open from 9 to 6 p.m., 5 days a week. The building is staffed with park rangers. To enter back into the U.S., you chat with a Border Patrol agent through a video kiosk.
Hello?
It's a high-tech experience at the end of a decidedly low-tech day. Back home, just in time to watch the sunset over another country.
When you draw those arbitrary political lines, it becomes a little bit more apparent how much the landscape is just one down here.